Hari Om, Bhaja Govindam chanting verses 16 to 20.
अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ जुगुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्षस्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापाशः कुरुते गङ्गासागरगमनं व्रतपरिपालनमथवा दानम् ज्ञानविहीनः सर्वमतेन मुक्तिं न भजति जन्मशतेन सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्याभूतलमजिनं वासः सर्वपरिग्रहभोगत्यागः कस्य सुखं न करोति विरागः योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीनः यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गाजललवकणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करमावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरि ओम्। Need to distinguish the difference between the mood swings to happiness. The feeling of high that we experience in life is taken by most of us to be I am happy. Happiness is not to be taken on that basis, because there is a high and the low keeps happening. That's why in our scripture they give a lot of importance to the moon, and they say moon has a tremendous impact on the mind. Similarly, the sun has an impact on the intellect. Just a symbol, please don't take it literally. It's not literal to be taken. People have taken that literally to believe that. But there is a marking of the resemblance of certain properties. The mind has the properties like that of the moon. The sun has the properties like that of the intellect. Therefore, it is connected. That's about it. But there is no direct link. People think, like I have heard people telling me, sir, during that Amavasya and, during that no moon and full moon day, this, psychological, affectation is more in people. They behave this way, behave that way. Now, don't subscribe to such ideas, please. There is no direct cause and effect relationship. But then there is a resemblance. What is a resemblance? Resemblance is the moon has the face. It's a wax and wane. That face is there for the moon. It's one day it looks so bright, big, brilliant, and then slowly it just goes down. It goes down, and then suddenly it goes into nothing, and then again it gathers up. It picks up and comes again. This is exactly what your mind's behavior is. Therefore, they said there is a direct influence of the moon on the mind. So the moon and mind has a resemblance. Similarly, sun has a resemblance to intellect. You see, the moment sun comes up, in a flash, everything is visible to you. In a stroke, it lights the whole thing. It's not like our torchlight. You see, the torchlight is like, lighting one by one, object by object. But the penetrative clarity that the sunlight gives, same way, the intellect also gives that penetrative clarity in understanding life. That's what this Gayatri mantra is. The student is invoking his intellect. Let my intellect also glow like that of the sun. What's that, sir? The sun, the moment it comes up, it lights everything. Similarly, when my intellect is awakened, it lights the whole thing. So let my intellect also behave like the sun. So the moon has a resemblance to it. That is why following the moon, you can never be happy. Happiness is not possible if you are going to be following moon. If you take yourself to be the moon, if you take yourself to be the mind, you can never be happy. Why? Because the mind, like the moon, has ups and downs, which is what we call as the mood swings. The mood goes one day, it comes down. It's not that, please. Happiness and peace is not something, a commodity that you have with you. It's not that, please. It is what you are. If you believe yourself to be mind, mind is the mood. One day you look so good, one day you look so pathetic. You feel. One day morning you wake up, you feel what? I'm going to conquer the whole world. One day morning you feel depressed, dejected. Remember, you have no choice. Why? That's what mind is. Now don't ask me why. It's like asking me why the moon has the two faces, waxing and waning face is there. Why? I don't know why and all that, but it is what, that's what it is. On its own, it doesn't have. It only reflects. Remember. So if you want happiness in life, Nityananda says, Shankara says, dispassion alone can bring. What is dispassion, sir? Moving away from mind. It's called dispassion. Dispassion is the capacity of yours to stay away from your desires, your attachments, your ego and egocentric beliefs, to stay away from that. How far you stay defines how deep your happiness would be. It's directly connected to that. The renunciation alone is the solution for happiness. If you say, I want to be happy, if your life mission is to be happy, then there is no other way than to stay away from mind. Staying away from mind immediately comes to the next idea. What do you mean by staying away from mind, sir? And that's why the Next verse, verse 19, he comes to another very, very popular verse. Verse 19 again. This Yogaratova Bhogaratova Sangaratova Sangavihina Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam Nandati Nandati Nandat Eva. Reveling in spiritual discipline or sense enjoyment. Reveling in company or without company. He whose mind rests in Brahman, reality, he is happy, happy, indeed happy. Nandati, Nandati, Nandati Eva. This, that Eva, you have to give an extra emphasis. Indeed, is only he is happy. Who gives a condition in the beginning? What is that? Reveling in spiritual discipline or sense enjoyment. Yoga Rataha. Ratha is reveling. Yoga, in yoga. In the spiritual practices, that's what it means. In the spiritual discipline. Whatever we consider as a spiritual discipline. Like we saw earlier, few spiritual disciplines, like pilgrimages or, dhanam, this karma, this yajna, this puja, this, upasana you practice, or this, whatever spiritual practices that you do. All that spiritual disciplines, spiritual practices, you are reveling in that. Or you can be reveling in the sense enjoyment. This. Or he says, there is another one. Another example he gives. Next example. Reveling in company, Sangarata, or Sanga Vihina, without company. Reveling in company, or you are without company, meaning there is no one around you. You are enjoying a party, or you are all alone, quarantine. With company or without company doesn't make a difference. That's not the point. Now, what is essential? What he is saying is, what is essential, what is non-essential. Another fascinating verse, oft-quoted verse, supposed to have been given out by another disciple of Shankara, Anandagiri, another popular disciple of Shankara, very, very famous he is. He has written, commentaries on all the bhashyas of Shankara. All the commentaries, he has written a commentary for that. And also his popular one is that Upadesha Sahasri. There is a text by Shankara called Upadesha Sahasri, and he has written a commentary for that. It's a very, very, important work, very popular one, and he's a prolific, author. Anandagiri also, like Sureshwara, we saw, no, like that. He's also like that, Anandagiri, very famous one. There are few other people, we don't have much information about them. Like Subodha, we saw earlier, we don't have much knowledge, much information about what work they have done. But, these people, work is available for us. That's all. So he's a very well-known person. And he gives a very popular verse. This is another, very famous verse in Bhajagovinda. Yogaratova Bhogaratova Sangaratova Sangavihina Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chitta Nandati Nandati. Beautifully he says. Yes. Only he can be happy, full stop. There is no more no more discussion. It's emphasized. The repetition, anywhere there is a repetition means it is emphatic assertion. No chance, no ways, no ways. No, 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 no. You say no many times. Means what? You're emphatically saying. It's not a innocuous saying no. Emphatic statement of yes. No one can get it back. Now, this verse can be understood from two levels. One, you can interpret this verse from the absolute. Absolute stand is what he says. The one who has reached that state of Brahman, the one who has realized the self, only he can be really happy. No one else can be really happy. So, till you hit that state of realization, you cannot be happy. This is absolute stand. You cannot be peaceful. You can take it as happy or you can take it as peaceful, whatever, satisfied. You would never be satiated till you reach that state of realization. You got to, you'll keep, having that craving still. Still you will feel incomplete. Still you will feel wanting. Still you will feel you are missing something. That missing sensation will be there for you constantly. You can't escape from that till you get realization. Upon realization, what happens? He says, upon realization, that person will be happy and only he can be happy. Therefore, there is no second thought on that. You don't have to doubt. There's no doubt on this, sir. This is absolute stand. As I did mention, the state of them gives us a clue of what we have to do, practice. You see, the state of perfection gives us the practice also. What are we supposed to do? How are we to achieve it? What are we to experience it? And Ramate, the one who is happy, restful, peaceful. There is a, this in the Bhagavata Purana, they talk about, Nrsimha Avatar. When Nrsimha came out, he was so angry, even after devouring Hiranyakashipu, he is not appeased. His anger did not subside. It's the rage of his, could not be controlled. And no one knew what to do with this fellow now. So they had to go and search of a solution. So they called, Indra, they tried to Shiva, they tried everybody. And finally they said, Mahalakshmi, let's see. She says, this, Vishnu, I don't know. He says, this is a new fellow. I have never seen him like this. So I am also scared to go near him, she says. Then finally they go to Prahalada and surrender. All these devas, including Mahalakshmi, she goes and surrenders to Prahalada. He says, please, only you can pacify him. Do something. And Prahalada goes and stands in front of him and he addresses him. What a beauty, he says. What you need to understand is this is just a 3-year-old child. Right in front of his eyes, just 2 minutes before, he devoured that fellow. Not just a normal killing. It's not that, you shoot and he dies. It's not like that. He puts him on his lap and tears open that stomach. And tears open the intestines. This, that, all that he puts as a garland. And he is walking around. Right? The sight itself you should get. Forget about fear. You should feel, disgusted, isn't it? Like lot of us, when they see blood, they faint. Have you seen? People can't see blood, You can see other things, but you can't see blood. Have you ever known a doctor who faints looking at blood? Have you seen? I had a friend. He saw blood and fainted, and he is a MBBS doctor, not a PhD. MBBS. Amazing fellow. He fainted. You see blood and he fainted. Superb guy. 3-year-old child, you see. He's just looking at the whole thing. Probably maximum you can put age is only 5 for him, 3 to 5. Between 3 and 5 is the age of this boy. A child actually, you can't even infant. Still infancy only. A child. He's seeing Nrsimha in that same posture. He has not changed. Not like Arjuna. In the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks Krishna. You see, very, very interesting portion. That 11th chapter of the Gita. Very beautiful sight. In the 10th chapter, Krishna, about 22 verses or so, goes into height of poetry. Very, very poetically, he starts describing his, presence, his Vishwarupa. And this guy says, you have told me all that theoretically. Now, I want all that to be seen in one form. Show me that. And Krishna didn't object. Now, that's what Krishna was doing in the entire, Krishna avatar. Free distribution is this Vishwarupa Darshan. Anybody asks for darshan, he will show Vishwarupa to those people. And the irony is, to everyone he will say, only you have seen. Only you have seen. Nobody had seen like that, okay? It's only for you. Only for you. Only for you. He will say that to everybody. And all these fellows also believed it. That's the best part of it. Arjuna, you imagine Arjuna is a warrior, okay? Arjuna is a great warrior. And he sees that Vishwarupa. The moment he saw that Vishwarupa, he got scared. He says, this form is too much for me to take. Therefore, no. You come back to your original form. Come back to this Chaturbuja Vishnu form. Show me that form. That gentle form is enough for me. No. Then why did you ask? This Vishwarupa, that's 10 times horrifying is this Nrsimha. And Prahalada goes and stands in front of him and says, what love, what affection. Why are you so affectionate? What is it that I have done to you for you to be having so much of affection towards me? And everyone is confused. It turns to these people, they say, you are all seeing the external. I don't see that. I see what is behind that. What is behind it, sir? This is a fascinating one. The external presentation is one. That has got no connection. It's the inner state. And that's what Anandagiri says. Whether you are this or that is not the point. What is your inner state? What is your inner condition? Says, if you are able to maintain that, that's what in Vishnu Sahasranamam. Too many Vishnus today. In Vishnu Sahasranama, Shankara writes a commentary for Vishnu Sahasranama. In that commentary, there is one of the nama comes to Sumukascha. Sumukha. This is for that he is writing a commentary. Smiling face. Pleasing face. Smiling. Fellow. What is it, sir? He has to describe. What is it now? and he goes to the presentation. He takes that. You want to understand that the face of Rama when Kaikeyi told him that you are not to be crowned, you are banished. At that time, what is a face Rama had? That is Sumukha. Says. What is it? Pleasing. You know, previous day, night, the father calls and says, tomorrow morning you are to be crowned. You say, okay. And next day morning, no, nothing. Suddenly he is called again and say, what? Exile. 14 years. Get out. Either case, what is the state of Rama? And Kamban, beautifully presents it. He says, his face was like the lotus, fully bloomed lotus in a painting. சித்திரத்தில் அலர்ந்த செந்தாமரை. In a painting, there's a beautiful painting. In that painting, there is a fully bloomed lotus. What is that face? Like that, his is. He said, why he puts it as in painting? Why he says Chittirathil? Why in painting, sir? In painting, if it is, means what? It will be the same any number of times you see, morning, evening, night, tomorrow, next day, after 6 months, after 6 years, after 600 years also you see that it will be what? Same thing. No difference. Same way. No matter what the situation is. What is his condition, sir? Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam. How he was able to manage that? How is it that Rama was able to take both? Whether you are going to be in the Aranya or Ayodhya, doesn't make a difference. Ayodhya and Aranya both are same. How he is able to take it, sir? Because of Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam. Because he had studied under Vasishta. He has been taught by these two Brahmajnanis. That's what in Ramayana, this Vishwamitra comes to take Rama. These people, this portion is not there in Valmiki Ramayana. This is in Yoga Vasishta, not in Ramayana. Yoga Vasishta also is an author by Vasishta only. Valmiki only. But this portion is not there. In Valmiki Ramayana, the Ashrada, calls for Rama. Rama comes, they says, okay, go with him. He goes, that's all. But in Yoga Vasishta, there is a conversation happens. He calls for Rama. The attendants go in search of Rama, and Rama is nowhere to be found. They come back and tell, we couldn't look, no, we don't know where Rama is. So wait, we can't give that information right now. So you people have to wait for Rama to arrive. We are searching him. Then Dasharatha asks the personal secretary, PA, for Rama, calls him and asks what happened. The attendants of Rama, they come. They say, Rama's state is very precarious condition. He is in depression for last 1 year. Dasharatha didn't knew that Rama was in depression for 1 year. I don't know what sort of a father he is. A fascinating story. And then they find Rama. Rama comes. With such dejection he comes. And you read this, Vairagya Prakarana, this first portion of Yoga Vasishta, where Rama's mental state is described. You want to understand Vairagya, that's what you have to read. What is man of Vairagya, sir? Read Rama's state in that. He reads and, he describes. He says life has no meaning, this has no meaning, that has no meaning, this is not, that is not. Absolute dejection. And finally, Rama asks, is there anyone in the world, anyone who has achieved? Vishwamitra gets up. He says, Rama, in this congregation, two fellows has achieved it. Obviously, one is me. Me, he is referring to, though you people don't take it as me. I'm quoting Vishwamitra. Okay. Vishwamitra, I have achieved. Apart from me, next one achieved is who? Vasishta. Yes. And he learns that Brahma Vidya from Vishwamitra and Vasishta. He learns that. He says, what is this? Knowledge. And that's that Yoga Vasishta. Fascinating textbook. Ramtirtha says, after you complete the study of the Upanishads, you should read Yoga Vasishta. Right. We are studying Bhajagovindam. Don't forget that. Okay. After Bhajagovindam, you have to go to Atmabodha, then you have to go to Vedachudamani, Panchadashi, and this Vedanta, Dindima, this one, that one, so many books are there. You have to cover all those things and then go to this Shankara Bhashya of the Bhagavad Gita and then go to this Upanishad Bhashyam and then come to Brahma Sutra Bhashyam. After that, if you still survive, study Yoga Vasishta. Don't start reading Yoga Vasishta. The story I've given is sufficient enough. Yoga Vasishta. He's asking, he got that knowledge. Since he has achieved that knowledge of Brahman, since he is anchored in that Brahman state, doesn't make any difference whether go to Aranya or crowned in Ayodhya. Doesn't make any difference to him. Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam. Now this is the state of the. Now if you have to bring it to our level, what we have to understand is the one who is living in this world, the one who is performing his obligations, performing his duties, doing his worldly things as it were. I'm living my life, sir. In this, what I have to do? As you are going about living your life, make every choices, make every action, make every emotion, entertain every thought connected to the goal of realization. Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam means the one who is reveling in the goal of realization, the one who is constantly engaged and entertains that thought of realization. I say the test is this. How many times you had thought, as I was referring to in the last class, I think only in our class I referred to, some class I was referring, how many thoughts you have deposited consciously, at least after I said. You have heard that, yes, in the class. After that, how many thoughts you would have deposited, sir? Yes, yeah. Now I remember you said in the last class, Ishwar. That's all. I forget to deposit it. You forget to deposit. That's what he says here. What is he referring to is this. Every action. Now, what are we doing, sir? Instead of entertaining that inner, ideas, thought deposits, we are depositing the thoughts with reference to the world. What is happening in the world? What are they doing? What is he doing? What is she doing? What is happening here? What is happening? I'm not saying you should not know what is happening around you. You have to know what's happening around you. There's no doubt about it. But that's not the critical one. What is essential is You should be anchored here and then deal. Like, Chimananda gives a beautiful example. He says, when you go to this Rishikesh, Haridwar, you go there and you go into the Ganges to take a dip. When you go there, they had, you would see, they had put chains, a lot of chains, you will see there, steel rods. The rods are there and there is a solid chain. You got to hold that chain and then take a dip. Right? Why? Because the flow of the Ganges is so hard, so fast. The current is so heavy. It is very difficult for you to withstand that current and take a dip. It's not possible. Therefore, what do? You get into the river and hold the chain and take a dip. You are safe. If you leave the grip on that chain, what will happen? I'll meet you in Calcutta, I will say. That's all. You leave there, next chances only in Calcutta I can catch you. In between, no chance. Because the speed is so much, how many of you have seen, there are certain spots in this Rishikesh, Haridwar side, you go. The speed is fascinating. You can't believe. She comes in such force. You need something to anchor for you to deal with the onslaughts of samsara, the changing phenomenon of the world you want to deal with, you have to live with. You need to anchor yourself on something. On what you are going to anchor? Either you can anchor with the external things, material things. You can anchor yourself on the physical. You can anchor yourself on the emotional. You can anchor yourself on the intellectual. Or you can anchor yourself on the self. Which one you are going to anchor defines everything. If you can anchor yourself on the self, the thought of realization, the thought of divinity, thought of God, and go through life experiences. That's what we call life is what, sir? Anubhava Dhara. The flow of experiences, like the Ganges flowing. Similarly, the life experiences were flowing at torrential speed. In that you have to take a dip. How will you? How on earth it is possible, sir? Unless you hold the chain. And there is a chain. You don't have to create a chain. It is there already. All that you have to do is what? Anchor yourself to that. Hold on to that. That's all you have to do. You hold on to that, you can take a dip peacefully. No problems. Take a dip and come out. But the problem is what? We give too much of importance to the external setup that we have created. Right now, I have created a particular setup around me. That's what we call as I'm settled in life. What do you mean settled? Are you settled? You say, I am never settled. People talk to me, settled. I say 47, I am not settled. I know a man who is 93, who is not settled. You see, external things are completely unsettled. There is no necessity, whether it is settled or not settled. Essential point is internally are you settled? Now, what is the effort that we put in to create that inner settlement? Right? Between that external settlement and the internal settlement, which is essential? Which is primary? He says, get on to that internal settlement. Our entire concentration is only on outside. you come to that spiritual path also, you believe it's the same thing I have to do here. That is why what do we do, sir? One group of people stay away from, other people go on doing. One group of fellows say this sort of activities are all spiritual, these activities are materialism. This is spiritual, this is material. There is no such thing. This one message, if you understand, that's enough for your spiritual life. The problem is we never understand this one idea. What is this spiritual? Few things we believe to be spiritual, few things we believe to be material. That's what he says. It has got nothing to do with the two. There is no such thing, he says. It's not to be defined on that. Then what is the essential dimension, sir? Essential dimension is, where is your thought? Are you making that deposit to your idol? If you are having a thought deposit towards the idol, if you are having an emotional deposit towards the idol, if you are doing an action deposit towards the idol, you will be happy. Nandati, nandati, nandati eva. That's the three things he says. What is it, sir? It's nothing to do with what action you are doing. It has nothing to do with what emotion that you are entertaining. It has got nothing to do with what thought you are entertaining. Then, are you entertaining the thought? Is this thought anchored on the self? Is this emotion anchored on the self? Is this action, is this choice that you are executing anchored on the self, on the ideal? Anchored on the self means on the goal of realization. Absolute sense, self. Relative sense, the goal of realization. The choices that you are making in life. I have to make a choice. What choice, sir? Plumber is coming. Bhajgovindam class is there. You have to make a choice between a plumber and Vedanta class. Which one you will choose? Plumber only. Obviously, Ishwaran. Why are you asking this? Why? Difficult to get plumber. Ishwaran is always available. Otherwise, you can send a message to Yashoda and say, what? Send me the recording. So, Vedanta class or this, which one you will go for? That's what I meant by choice. Choice means what? This is the choice. Emotion. Whose relationship is valued? Thoughts. Which thought you entertain? Which knowledge you seek? Which relationship you value? That is a good question. Now, we all think I can be happy if I create a setup around me. But the law of life says, you create a setup, I will upset it. This is a law. You cannot do anything about it. Therefore, what you should do, don't worry about creating an external setup. This is what the problem of samsara is. Everyone, anytime you say, I have a problem, sir. The problem means what? Only one thing. I have a setup. Something has disturbed that setup. Can you help me to put back that thing again? Create that thing again. But life says what? It is not possible. It will not work. The moment you understand that and you strive towards working on what, sir? On creating this. Nandati, nandati, nandati. It's a fascinating one. Absolute level, a man of realization. Relative level, the person who is striving for realization, striving towards perfection. Such a fellow, happy. in Vedanta treatise, he gives one beautiful, scene. There are two, three things, which really inspired me. One is this story, where in a village there was a torrential rain, storm and rain. The whole village is flooded, and the nearby dam overflowing. It's overflowing. It can even break anytime. It's overflowing. They have opened up the dam because they can't afford to contain that anymore. So they have opened all the things, and the water has inundated the entire village. And there, rain is not stopped. Rain is still there, and it is with the wind. Rain is there. There's one fellow who was trying somehow to escape the flood, and he made a small boat for himself. He was trying, he was going in that. Suddenly, it hit something and toppled, and he fell in the water. And the current is dragging him, and somehow he managed to catch hold of a tree, and he climbed the tree. He got the tree and he started climbing the tree, and he goes and sits on a branch. And it is raining, and right in front of his eyes, he could see the water is flowing with such speed and that quantum. And he is seeing that, and the wind is blowing, as a result of which the tree is swinging, right? And he is sitting on the branch of the tree, and it is swinging. At that time, a bird came and perched on that same branch. This fellow is sitting the branch, and the bird is also sitting on that same branch. Rain same, wind same, branch same, water same, everything is same for both the fellows, to the man and to that bird. More the swinging, the bird is enjoying the swing, right? More the swinging, what happens to this fellow? There's a difference, no? Isn't it? That is what Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam. What does it say? The bird is using the branch, no doubt about it. He is also sitting there. But the bird is not dependent on the branch, on the tree. Even if the branch collapses and falls into that river in the flood, the bird will take a flight. He'll go. Two flaps, this fellow's up. He is not dependent on that. Whereas this man is totally dependent on it. And it can be broken anytime. This is the problem for all of us. That we know I have a setup, but the setup is so flimsy. I've created a particular thing. What is it? You need to have a house. I got a house. I got this. I got this. And as you think your life is almost, things are going fine, from nowhere you will get a blow. That's what we say. Vishnu has 4 hands, Padma, Gada, Shanku, Chakra. So the 4 hands. The Padma that he carries, the lotus that he carries, represents peace. Vishnu's lotus represents peace, realization, right? And the conch represents your conscience, the inner call, that inner voice, whispering to your ears, constantly telling you to go towards the self. Go towards the self. Go towards the self. Move in that direction. Move in that direction. If you heed that the voice of conscience and move in that direction, you get to peace. If you don't heed Shanku, next comes the Gata, the knocks and shocks of life. Maze will come and whack you. Ramtirtha calls us the Trishul of Shiva, will poke you from behind, he says. Will poke you. That's why he has a Trishul. Will keep poking you. Move, move, move. Say, Jargandi, Jargandi, you say. Like that. Yes, that's what the voice of conscience is. Jargandi is the voice of conscience. Move faster, move, move, move. Move towards God, not move away from. When a man says Jargandi, that is what? Move away from God. Jargandi, they will not say when you are entering that Sanctum Sanctorium. After you enter the Sanctum Sanctorium, the fellow will say, get out faster. No, that's not the Dwarapalaka say. Dwarapalaka say, get in quicker. Get into Vaikunta quicker, is what he says. Now, what we say is exactly opposite. We say, get out of it faster. Voice of conscience tells you to move towards the self, towards the divinity, towards God. If you heed, you will get to Padma. If you don't heed, life will give you knocks and shocks. Failures and problems and heartbreaks, depressions and dejections and frustrations and irritations in life will be visiting you constantly. Every visit of that is what? Is this. A few years back when we are doing this Mahabharata classes, I was explaining, you are not realizing the nature has started rebelling against us. And I was saying that, nobody understood. Even though you're not understanding, I know. You realize the nature has started rebelling against us. Now we understand. Correct. Now everybody says, correct. Nature is standing against us. These are knocks and shocks. This is not chakra. If you don't heed to the knocks and shocks, if you don't heed to that maze, to Gata, next is chakra. Chakra is what, sir? Finished. It just chops off, finished. You don't exist after that. You're gone. Now life poses that. Life gives that. Why, sir? Because you are creating a pattern around you, feeling that I would feel secured within it. If I go and sit inside, I would feel secured. I'm so secured with all these things. I believe it genuinely. See, that won't work, man. That external things will not work. Then what will work, sir? That inner rehabilitation. The rehabilitation has to happen. Without that inner rehabilitation, rehabilitate your mind and intellect. Without it, it's impossible to get it. It says, who gets it, sir? How do you get it, sir? Only by whose mind rests in Brahman. Ramate means your mind should be reveling in that. You see that? Not just getting a thought of it. The thought of God is not the point. You should revel in that thought. Do you revel is the point. This. Are you enjoying the thought of God? Thought of Brahman, thought of realization. Not somehow, hey, I will also want to realize, I also want to realize. That is by mechanical repetition. I said, doesn't matter. Even if it is mechanical, do it, I said. Isn't it? A lot of us ask me, isn't it Ishwaran? It's mechanically you go on repeating. I want realization, I want realization, I want realization. I say, it doesn't matter. Even if it is mechanical, do it. It's a stupid thing only. It's okay. In fact, anything you start, the starting point of everything is mechanical only, isn't it? When you send your child to school, has a child understood the value of education? When you went to school, did you understand the value of education at that time? No. You went to school only why? Because you are forced. Mechanically, you get up, you go, attend the class, PT period, come back, play, do homework, pretend to be studying. And then next day again, get up, go, exam, pass, fail, come back. It's the same thing, no? Have you understood that? No. Remember, everything in the beginning will be mechanical. Now you say that I want to be becoming so consciously I have to do. Now first you do mechanical and then consciously we can think of. Now you are not doing. In comparison to not doing, doing mechanical is a higher state. Like people say, I go to temple, I don't go to temple. I ask them, why you don't go to temple? Yeah, mechanical, no? Rituals, mechanical, no? As if your life is not mechanical. You are saying, rituals are all mechanical. We say rituals are all mechanical. Your life is what then? Conscious living. Anyway, your life is mechanical. What difference does it make? Mechanical means what, sir? Doing without any connection or alertness or awareness. That's called mechanical. What is mechanical, sir? You're not establishing a connection. You're not connecting this to something. Without that, if you continue to perform, that's called a mechanical thing. What is it that you are connected? And you said, I should get married. What is the connection? Huh? And then no, I want to divorce. Okay, what is the connection now? To what you are connecting? I want to have a child. For what? Huh? For what? That connection is what he is referring to here. If you can establish that connection, the connection has no rules or regulations, please. It is you who is making the connection, isn't it? There lies the freedom. There lies the possibility of growth. If connections were not to be decided by you, then there is no freedom. As humans, we have the choice to establish a connection with this to what? I'm doing it for what? That's my freedom. I can choose. Like we say, the typical story they give about attitude. One fellow says, what are you doing, sir? I'm working to earn money, man, to eat bread. Another fellow says, what? What are you doing? We are constructing a building. Another fellow says, what? I'm constructing a temple. See, all the three fellows are doing the same job. He's connecting that to is in whose hands? There lies absolute freedom. I have that complete freedom to connect whatever I am doing to whatever I want. It has got nothing to do with what I do. That's all he says in this verse. A very, very promising verse, giving us a complete possibility for evolution. If it is to be connected to what you are doing, then only one set of people can grow, because everyone cannot do that action. So imagine, only if you were to be a musician, you can grow spiritual. What will happen? Only if you are a mathematician, you can grow spiritual. Only if you are a leader, you can grow spiritual. Only if you are a sportsman, you can grow. Only if you are this, you can. No. Everyone can grow. Anyone can grow. Why, sir? How? Because it has got nothing to do with what you are, where you are, what you are doing. Then it is to do with what? It is to do with what purpose you are going to assign for whatever you are doing. I do things for what? Today you do things only for two things. What is it, sir? Your body and your connections. Beyond the two, you have nothing in your life. Delete these two things out of your life. What is your life? My body. All your activities, all your thoughts, all your emotions, where all the transactions that you have in life is only these three: actions, emotions, thoughts. All these three revolves around what? Only two factors: my body, two, my connections. Connections is what? My relatives. And what we don't understand is, when I say my relatives, if my mind has the capacity to accommodate two more people in my life, my wife, my child, parents are ruled out. Nobody equates them, very, very rare. Or maybe till they get married, they'll talk about parents. The moment marriage comes, my family. What is my family, sir? Me, my wife, my child. That's all. If you can accommodate two, why can't you accommodate 20? There's no space. Mentally, I'm talking about. Mentally, what stops you from accommodating 20? What stops you from accommodating 2,000, 20,000? Doesn't make any difference. If you can accommodate one more, means there is enough room for the whole world. But the choice is yours. The choice that you have got to what you are going to, how much you are going to accommodate differs. Our problem is what? Highest accommodation is my wife, my child. As long as it's a child. The moment the child becomes an adult, what happens? After that, no more my accommodation. Now we start saying what? I accommodate in your house now. You accommodate me. No longer I accommodate you. No, no, no. What is stopping us? Nothing stops us. But still, do we do it? And that's what he means by Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chitta. Brahmani Ramate means don't start saying, only Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. That is correct. But you have to start moving from where you are. Finally, what is it, sir? The thought of Brahman, you should revel in that. Morris Matlings. Yes. Happy and blessed are. Happy and blessed are is when wickedness stands forth revealed. as goodness bereft of a guide. When a wicked person is standing, how you see him, sir? Goodness bereft of a guide. That's all. He's a good fellow, but there's no guidance. That is possible to you provided if it is my son. Isn't it? That's why, Dhritarashtra could not see the wickedness of this fellow. Why? He's my son, no. He's my son. Therefore, now in that field, you are able to practice it. That's what every parent say. That my boy is a very good boy, sir. Only friends are not good, Very bad friends. This fellow, brilliant fellow, but only thing is what, not a good friend. I say, if he's such a brilliant fellow, he must have that intelligence to decipher whom to take as friend, whom not to take as friend. No. But every parent says, my son is a brilliant boy. I say, what brilliance is then? He can't even understand the difference between who is benefactor, who is not a benefactor, who is good, who is bad, he doesn't know. And you are calling him brilliant. Why he appears brilliant to you? To my eyes, my daughter will always look what? Angel. Right? To my eyes, you look like that. Why? Accommodate it. The point is, if you can accommodate one, why can't you accommodate the neighbor? Why can't you accommodate? That capacity is there in you. When you can do it? Only when you start reveling. You should revel in that accommodation. I'm not talking about doing. Now, don't immediately go to action. I'm not talking about action. I'm talking about the connection. I do something. I feel something. I think something. Through the thinking, what I'm trying to get. Through that emotion, what I'm trying to achieve. Through that action, what I'm trying to get. That connection, I have the freedom to make. What is there I'm going to do is the essential factor, he says. Not what you are doing. Externally, you may be doing anything. Externally, you may be in company or you may be in solitude, like Ramana Maharishi. You can also go and sit in that Tiruvannamalai. You will not become a Ramana. That will not happen. There is only one Ramana, full stop. You can go there, prostrate and get inspiration and walk out. You can't follow. You can't do him. Why is that? It has got nothing to do with what you are doing. It has got nothing to do with all this. Then the question is what? What is your inner abstraction? That inner abstraction defines the whole thing. See you next class.